people? This is CornaStore Podcast, episode 34. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share the content. Appreciate all y'all support. Find us on YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iTunes. So, trying to improve the platform. So, yeah, you can find us pretty much just about anywhere now. So, but this is Rob on the mic. Joining me on the panel, we got my boy Phil. How you doing, brother?
What's good? What's good? CornaStore Podcast. We here again.
And you had told me that you haven't heard of the new term "super straight."
Yeah, I ain't quite caught that one yet. What's that all about?
Here's the gist, right? Right now it just kind of strictly like a meme, but it hasn't really gotten into like the official language of the LGBT per se. But it started out with a TikTok video. It was like a teenager. He was stating how he's super straight, which means that as a cisgender man who has no desire to swing on the other side or even have a sex change, that he's strictly attracted to cisgender women who has no desire to switch over to the other side as well. So basically, if you're born a man, if you're born a woman, I mean, if as long as you're attracted to the opposite sex, then you're super straight. But if you ask anybody from the LGBT, if a straight man was to be attracted and get involved with a trans woman, they're still considering him straight because they're still considering
The trans woman
to be women. So basically, like a week ago, we will both be considered straight. But as of today, since this new language is out,
super straight.
we're super straight. We're super duper straight.
Wow, what the world is coming to. I tell you, man, that's crazy.
My thing is, what the fuck is going on?
Well, I'll tell you what's going on. I'm gonna break this down to you. Make it as clear and simple as possible. The pandemic is making people go fucking crazy. That's it. Everybody at home, they got nothing else to do. They're obsessed with TikTok. Everybody got to be on TikTok. Everybody chasing that 15 minutes of fame. All of them trying to figure out how they can get in the public eye to get some attention, man. I really can't see anything beyond this. Because it's a term for what you just described. It's called heterosexual, as far as I know. And we've had that term for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, but we're like super hetero because as a heterosexual man, me and you know, they still consider us heterosexual if we get involved with trans women.
Yeah,
they're considering women.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We don't need to redefine terms that already were have already been institutionalized. We don't need to do that.
I mean, you say that, but they're constantly adding language to the whole overall, with like adding new pronouns. And
I find it interesting that a lot of this alphabet group, because I know I'm gonna mess up all the letters, so we're just gonna go with the alphabet thing that you call.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, it was, you don't have. There's no reason for you to be in my sexual business. What I do with myself from a sexual standpoint is nothing but anybody else's business, right? And now it's my business, but it's everybody. But I'm making it everybody else's business to let everybody else do whatever the hell they want to, and you can't say nothing about it. And now I find it funny that now they're imposing language on us who already have nothing and don't care about what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's an additional term when it used to be, you know what, you want to love who you want to love, that's fine, do what you want to do, I ain't got nothing to do with that. But now you want to draw me into that by labeling me something other than what I was already labeled as. I'm not asking for additional labels. I don't need additional labels from you just because you have LGBTQ. What's the other one? Ain't it another letter?
Plus.
LGBT plus. Now it's plus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. I don't have any problem, obviously, with anybody and their sexual preferences, but now what? The plus. Now we got plus and SS now. So plus and super straight. So now we're all in that community. We're a part of their alphabet community now.
I mean, I don't want to be proud of it. I mean, I'm just going to stand on my own square. But like I said earlier in previous podcasts, I don't agree with the lifestyle, but it doesn't mean that I hate them for it. It's just not for me. And
Right.
God bless them. They can do whatever they want to do, but just don't put their agenda into my daughter's classroom. And actually, recently, Cassie told me that one of her friends, I believe they have like a 10-year-old daughter, something like that, and the daughter told the parents that they're pansexual now. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. So now I've been talking this shit to Cassie for a while. She always been thinking that I'm just over exaggerating, I'm crazy. I was like, hey Cassie, remember all the shit I was telling you about like months ago? That shit is coming to fruition now. So
yeah. It's when we even stoop to say it's going too far, they take that as an insult.
exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, not only do it was a point where y'all felt like people were imposing their will upon their community, and now they're doing the exact same thing to straight people.
Mm-hmm.
They're imposing their will by forcing us to be subjected to everything that they feel is appropriate. And that's just like last week we was talking about, you mentioned some actress or singer, I don't remember what her name was, referring to baby showers as what did you transphobic.
Yeah, Demi Lovato.
I thought about that all week, dude, and I just
Really?
wish I had a sledgehammer. I would just I would just bash her thoughts. I would bash her thoughts in. I wouldn't hit
Right.
her with
You're
it.
just attacking ideology and not the people themselves. So that's what it's all about. It's just all about the conversation. So and plus, if you alienate people by like canceling them just because they don't agree with your lifestyle, you're gonna make them be more of sticking to their guns. I mean,
Yeah.
I could be full of shit. I get that. But if they can convince me that what they're doing is all with good intentions, then yeah, I mean, I'm willing to listen, but just don't label me as a bigot or
Right.
a transphobe or homophobe. But I mean, for one, I'm not scared of them. I'm not scared of them at all. So, but if they were to label me as a phobe, then would that protect me medically to have a phobia?
You might be able to collect insurance money for
You know what?
collect,
I want to get paid for it.
Hey, that's right. Put me in the category. I want some money for it.
I know, right?
Freaking ridiculous. It's freaking ridiculous, man. You know what? This is, to me, it's almost like reverse racism.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in fact, it's exactly like reverse racism. You want to you're pissed at me because of an opinion I had about you, and now because everybody is on your side, you're imposing that same will or anger towards me because now I'm the minority. It's sadly ridiculous.
But this is like the most fucked up part about, as far as like the whole Civil Rights Act, how it was intended for black people, black men and women. And then they literally took that blueprint and put it on steroids. And now they're using that to demonize, straight black men and straight white men as well. So, just to be out in the media, you can't be that masculine figure. I mean, you got to be some type of like effeminate male who's gonna put the woman on a pedestal at all costs. I mean, look at like John Legend. I can't stand John Legend. I mean,
no, I never liked John Legend.
Fucking comment. You know what? I'm a unfriend comment on Facebook because every time comment posts something on Facebook, well, he always saying shit about women. I'm like, comment, come on now. Like, weren't you accused recently on like a Me Too allegation?
Of course, yeah.
So maybe that's why he's doing it. So
Jaguar, right? Wasn't that she made an accusation against him saying he was trying to?
Yeah, Jaguar is full of shit, but still, the allegation is out there. So
yeah, exactly. Nah, I mean, we all want, what I'm saying, we all want success for our women. We all want freedom, and we all want people to be able to move how they choose to. But the minute that it becomes forceful and intentful to impose your will on anybody, it becomes problematic. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, at what point, what's the end game? That's what I want to know. What's the end game? Is if the end game is for everybody to love everybody, at some point you got to slow down and let people start to appreciate what it is that you're doing instead of jumping in their face, throwing shit at them. And that's why I feel like now, I mean, at some point you got to realize that the actions that you take are more than 50%. When it's more than 50%, it's not fair anymore. So if at one point, it was so much hate and so much anger towards, this alphabet community, ultimately they're going to have to push back. But when you keep pushing back, eventually you're going to get that tug of war is going to be in your favor. And then what are you going to do with it at that point? Are you going to now not listen to anybody who has, very traditional thoughts? Are they not acceptable anymore if they're not part of your community?
Yeah, the pendulum is always going to swing you back.
Yeah,
It probably won't happen within our lifetime, but it's going to swing you back, and someone else is going to be like the most oppressed, group during that time. So, but yeah,
exactly.
They're going to get it like eventually. So, but unfortunately, I won't be able to see it. So, but this shit. I mean, I'm 40 years old. I expect to live for like another 40 years, and I mean, who knows what is going to happen by then?
Yeah, a lot can happen in 40 years. We'll see.
Yeah, man. Recently, Michelle Obama, she was on like a call with Zaya Wade.
And I didn't see that.
Yeah, well, I really didn't see it either. I just like read up on it, and I mean, I don't mind Michelle Obama giving her words of encouragement, but I mean, just don't put that shit out there, because I mean, they still exploiting that kid, and the fact that Gabrielle was like, at the time he was a boy, she took him to a gay pride parade. But like I said before, a gay pride parade is a parade regarding sexual preference.
Yeah.
So by bringing him there, you basically saying that boy's open for business.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Press tour just to kind of like highlight it and talk about how he needs to live his truth. I mean, I don't mind him living his truth, but just don't put that on the media. I mean, settle that shit in private, And I respect Dwayne Wade. He's the third greatest shooting guard ever to play in the NBA. But from this point on, people won't remember him for that. They're gonna remember him for his so-called activism in the LGBT community, and that's going to give more opportunities in the media. Gabrielle, she got a new TV show with Jessica Alba on Fox. So I mean, they grifting like crazy.
Yeah.
So
they with this being so dominant in social media and the ongoings in this, in this country and worldwide, because I know right now it's funny that we're going through this here, and in China they're giving masculinity classes. You heard about that?
Yeah.
China gotta teach their men how to be men again.
They was tyrannical for so long, and they just unfortunately, like the man just took a big hit from it. So yeah. And like, did they have like a some type of like cap on how many kids they can have or something like that?
I believe some years ago, and it may still be in effect, they couldn't have more than 2 children.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, I heard that. I never read up to see if that was actually the law, but I mean, their population tends to, I can understand why they had those type of limitations. I mean, so very impoverished country, even though, they have the ability to amass a lot of wealth. There's still a lot of poor people in China, a lot of poor people. So
it's where most of our goods are made, with that slave labor, and with you got the apparel, shoes and sweatsuits, t-shirts, I mean toys. I mean it's to our benefit, but unfortunately they paying the ultimate price, man.
Yeah. And a lot of people have spoken up. A lot of people in that country have risen up, and salute to all of them and everything that they're going through, those who struggling. But coming back to America, I'm just really puzzled to understand what is the end game with all of this inclusiveness. Like, I get, there's still a lot of things happening negative, when it comes to people who choose an alternative lifestyle. People, people getting killed and things like that. So obviously wanting to fight against oppression is one thing, but it starts to come to a point where it's not oppression that you're fighting against. To me, it feels like you're fighting to make this the standard.
You're fighting to make
acceptance or their lifestyle standard.
Right. They're fighting for opportunities of outcomes.
Yeah,
I think that's the right terminology. I mean, because like earlier, people wanted just had the opportunity, but you can't have a like an equal outcome, but you can have an equal opportunity. So
right.
they trying to fight for equal outcomes, which is pretty much impossible.
Yeah. Well, man, can that. I don't want to talk about that no more. I've had enough.
All right, cool. All right, well, next one, man. Do you think Jigga, Swiss, and Timberland are sellouts?
They sold out literally, didn't they sold their masters, didn't it?
They sold Versus. I'm not sure if that's synonymous with the actual catalog per se, but as far as Versus no longer being on like Apple and on IG, they sold it to Thriller, which is a direct competitor to TikTok. It's an undisclosed amount, and Jigga, he sold a third of Tidal to Sprint for like $200 million, and then
I did see that.
He sold the rest to Jack Dorsey, the Twitter CEO, for $297 million.
Right.
But he ended up getting like a board seat at Square, which is like the overall owner of Twitter or whatever. But it's as far as the company that's over Twitter rather. So
right. I mean, that's just business, dude. I don't feel like it's selling out. That's just business. They gaining greater margin, they gaining greater seats at the table, more seats at the table. So, that's for people who don't operate at that level, they're gonna have stupid opinions. And to me, that's a stupid opinion. Selling out would be, to me, is accepting money from somebody to dish your own people. That's the only term of selling out that I could ever comprehend. You go against the things that benefit your own people. So if he's making these moves, what I'm saying, to increase his wealth, to increase his footprint, then by all means do that. If I don't see how any of those things stood to benefit his own people. So how would they equate that to selling out? Maybe it's something I'm missing.
Well, maybe I won't call it that word, but I do understand the argument.
Okay.
Because remember when he was the owner of the Nets?
No, I remember when he had a part ownership, and it was a $500,000 investing in the Nets.
Right. It was literally like less than 1% ownership of the Nets, but the way that he was touted out there as if he were the owner of the Nets. I mean, he was pretty much a mascot. And, and he was the black face to kind of lure those poor blacks out of the Bed-Stuy area so that way they could kind of build that new arena, Barclays Center. So I mean that's one thing that's kind of working against him as far as in the court of public black community. But after that, I remember he's supposed to have told Jermaine Dupri not to get involved with the NFL, but later on he ended up getting a bid with the NFL so he could be over the whole halftime show. So I thought it was kind of a snakish move. And I mean, you know what? I get it. This is America. It's capitalism. I mean, he bought Tidal for like about $50 million, and he flipped it 10 times over. So I mean, I get it. Get your bread. I mean, this is a dog eat dog world, and plus, when you're on this level, then yes, I mean, of course, you make that move. But as far as us peasants talking about it, I mean,
that's what it is.
I get what he's doing, but as far as some like coining the term, for the culture, we gotta build our own. If you're gonna talk like that, then you got to execute it.
Well, I mean, we don't know his master plan. We don't know his end game. Maybe he has, a ultimate goal that he's trying to reach that will benefit our people. Who knows? For us to assume that business moves that he makes in any way makes him a sellout. The whole situation with the Nets, you know, I don't know the full details about, you know, the people that were moved out of the area. I can't even speak to that. Obviously, if those people are impoverished, it doesn't.
Unfortunately, it's going on everywhere. So yeah, I
You know,
understand.
it's just something that's gonna happen. Either he would have did it or somebody else would have. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, we don't know what his end game is. We do know that he's created opportunities that weren't there before. You know what I'm saying? We don't
Who though?
we don't know how many black people he employed. We don't.
Well, when he bought Title, remember that picture that came out as far as like the employees at Title?
Nope, didn't. I never saw it.
It was
What was most of white people?
It was all white staff.
Well, I mean, it's software development. I mean, that's just the common. That's just the nature of the business.
Niggas can't code.
No, niggas don't code. Niggas don't code.
I mean, listen. Since this pandemic, I learned how to, you know, do a podcast.
Yeah.
In just 1 year. Like I learned how to, you know, create the video, edit the video, and mass produce it. And I learned the shit in 1 year. So I mean, if you just buckle down and like concentrate on like a certain craft, then yeah, you can learn anything. So as long as you and a dedication to it. So yes, niggas can code.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was of course being facetious, but I mean, essentially, you know, right now, you know, I engage with a lot of professional coders, and I don't come across black ones that often, at all. Actually, at this point, at all, not one time have I engaged a conversation with a black coder. That being said, if you are a coder, please contact me. Reach out through the podcast. I may have some things that I can do to work with you. Beyond that, I mean, the field is there. You know, the opportunities will be there. But how do we judge? We can't judge him based on that. That's not a good scenario to call him a sellout. I don't see it.
Well, speaking of coding, seems like you'll be hard pressed to like find like a lot of black guys doing that because they actually going to invest like a whole bunch of money to black women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Goldman Sachs came out with like a $10 billion pledge to help black women out in tech. The Visa, they committed some money. I believe Google committed some money. So yeah, like a lot of these corporations are pretty much investing in black women. So they pretty much pricing you niggas out.
Well, this is what I would like to say in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
There was this thing that happened about 300 years ago. It was called slavery. And they taught niggas how to do shit. Niggas did it really, really well. And they got paid nothing for it. So I just want to make sure that, you know, these investments that they're making, that they're going to continue to pay these new, you know, coders that they're developing based on the standard rate, because coders make a lot of fucking money. And they will be really empowered
about a pay gap though. So what's the point of doing it?
That's my point. That's why they targeting them, because they gonna go for it. It's an okie doke move. They gonna be paying them $25,000 and with health benefits to do a $300 an hour job. Be careful what people give you. It's always a trick to it. It's always a trick, you know. But you know, these professional coders spend a lot of time in school learning how to do what they do, and you know, there's a reason why they get paid the amount of money they do. And obviously, if a company invests in you, they're gonna want to hire you because that's part of their investment. And they're not gonna want to pay you anymore after giving you a free education. So don't think that they're gonna jump to pay you a regular salary. You're gonna have to take that shit somewhere else. But and you know, a lot of things what I'm saying right now, also in terms of STEM, just in general, you know, a lot of kids like that's gonna be the standard education going as we move forward, with the focus on coding and stuff like that, which I already see right now. My third grader, she's learning coding. But damn, I lost my train of thought. I don't know, it might come back. But yeah,
I did coding in high school.
Yeah, what did you code? The little Pac-Man?
It was a program called Basic.
Oh yeah, I remember Basic. That's
Remember that?
ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of
25
course.
years ago. Yeah. I was an A student too, man.
Yeah, I bet you couldn't. I could bet you couldn't code a block changing colors right now. Not from memory. Not from memory.
Just give me some time, man. I can learn anything. So
Yeah, and most people are. It's just the level of dedication you have to it when you want to take it. But I mean, I think it's great. You know, I think it's great that they're investing their money. Dude, guys are just gonna. It's just gonna go right over their head, though. You know,
yeah.
it's gonna be opportunities for black men, but they just not. They're not trying to see that shit.
Yeah, I just like the optics, but I mean, I don't want them to take that stuff away from black women. I mean, by all means, I want the women to take it and hopefully that they learn something from it and you know elevate their communities. But my whole thing is you know it should be more resources coming towards black men as well because if the women are constantly going to be elevated over the man, then this is going to further divide both sexes and you know when my girls are like going to be old enough to like you know date and possibly get married. I mean,
It's gonna be
but
number bums out here.
exactly. So yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's an interesting shift in the dynamic. You know, that society is coming to. You know, and I mean, we'll live to see a lot of it. We're gonna live to see a lot of. I think probably a significant change in how the household is as we get older. It's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, all we we got to do what we got to do to make sure that we maintain. But for those who are following us and becoming adults now and starting to learn what it is to be an adult now, that whole definition is completely different from our definition.
right, right.
So, who knows? Who knows?
All right, cool, man. All right, put a bum on that. All right. Next. Why are Americans so fascinated with the Royals? I just don't get it. My whole thing is fuck the Royals. I mean, they really have no power. They just got money, but they don't got power. Why? Why are we so fascinated with the Royals?
Oh man, why are we so fascinated with The Bachelor? I have no idea, dude. That shit makes no sense to me. Zero sense.
Yeah, we love celebrity. We love living vicariously through them. So
I just don't feel like there's enough content coming from that the royalty. Like, what is it that we're drawing on? We're just paying attention to their every little move, but when they stop, what is there to look at? What is the Queen of England? What significance does she play in? What does the significance of the royal family play on the world stage? Zero.
not yeah, exactly.
What type of impact has she, the queen, come out and said in favor of how black people are treated in the world? I don't know. Maybe she has, but I don't think so. I'm not aware of any.
I'm not aware of her even speaking of the Negro per se.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, on a world stage with everybody paying so much attention to this royal family, what are they doing with their voice? We talk about athletes all of the time, overextending themselves and speaking on topics that they should probably stray away from. But this is a royal family who was regarded as an elite people,
Yeah.
whose voice obviously rings around the world, and they not talking about shit. Like, who cares? They're not even doing nothing.
I know that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, I believe that they spent some time in South Africa doing some type of like
I do know that.
Besides that, I mean, recently I've read that they've been in some photo ops with some black people just to kind of blacken her up a little bit. But I just know that her previous relationships were pretty much with white men. I mean, which is fine because her dad is white and her mom is black. And I mean, she haven't really been like the most pro-black woman anyway. I mean, but God bless her. But as far as the whole Oprah interview with Tyler Perry, he offered his residence and his security. to both Harry, Archie, and Megan. And then Oprah, she did the exclusive interview, and what like some bombshells were like dropped talking about Buckingham. But I mean, my whole thing is, if I was a single man and if I was going to be engaged to David Duke's daughter, I know what to expect if I was to be in their family. You know what I'm saying? And you got to think about that. It's women out in England that's born and bred to be princesses. And basically, he did a 21st century coming to America where he kind of bypassed that and went to America to get his ride. And he pissed some people off, and he always did his own thing. I mean, Harry, he is a wild boy. I mean, he used to wild out in Las Vegas. He had like pictures circulating in which like he was like butt naked and shit. But yeah, Harry, he a wild dude, but yeah, but for him to kind of like bypass that whole tradition of finding his bride in England and instead marrying a feminist from America, I mean that's not a good mix, man. And I don't think it's gonna be a happy ending. And you know how these kings, queens, and princes, princesses. I mean, Disney always sell us a happy ever after story, but in this situation, I don't think that honestly in 10, 15, 20 years, I think it's going to be a messy breakup because I think she's pulling all the strings.
Sound like to me you're interested in the royals.
You would think that, right? I mean, over the years, I always hear shit and I just retain it. But I mean, right now, I'm just giving commentary on it. I mean, I have an opinion about it, but I just don't care. I don't care about it. But yeah, man. I mean, yeah.
It's crazy. I was like, when did she become a feminist?
I mean, she's from Hollywood, so yeah, she thinks like them. So I mean, she publicly said that she about women empowerment, and she wanted to still do social justice causes. So she couldn't do that if she was going to do her royal duties full time.
Well, my thing is this, man. He ain't the next in line to be the heir to the throne. And when is this bitch gonna die? When is the queen gonna die? How old is she? Like 90, 105?
I don't know.
When is he gonna be a king of England?
You know what? I believe next in line is Prince Charles.
Right. Yeah. Which would mean his son, his oldest son, I don't know. Who's the oldest?
William, yeah.
Right. He's more likely to be the heir. So Harry's he's just
fucking around. So like,
he don't matter.
Had Harry been next in line, then I doubt all this would be going on because it's so much at stake. But like being that he has no direct link to the throne, I mean, right? He could just do whatever he wants, and you know he kind of like stripped his own royal duties, I guess, and like now they can like live like in Canada or like in America, and they can kind of do their own thing and have TV shows, and they got book deals, and I mean they go get a nice bag from this, but
I'm sure they got a nice bag from that interview. I'm getting feedback.
Oh yeah, of course. So but yeah, man, I think Megan is pretty much pulling all the strings. So and he just not being a man about it is, I mean, how could you strip your own royal duties to appease a Western American feminist woman? I mean, that's
wait.
That's bad.
First of all, he got a hold of some black coochie, and that was the end of it. I mean, almost black.
It's half black, so.
Nah, man. But real talk, though. I mean, maybe we don't know the inner workings his relationship with his family. You know what I'm saying? He may have been made to feel like he was a black sheep in the family all this time, anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, what better way to say, fuck y'all, than to go to America, find him a black woman, get married, and go talk to Oprah and tell them that y'all was racist. Yeah. Sounds like a TV show to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. That's made for TV right there.
Yeah, that's made for TV. I mean, since Prince Diana died, there was obviously, I think that led to a lot of attention being brought back to the royal family and Buckingham and all of that. But I mean, like I say, ultimately, outside of whatever charitable actions they take, I don't hear a strong enough voice coming from that monarchy that's to make them relevant in the world. I don't even, they could diffuse that shit tomorrow, and I don't think enough people would care. It's not going to impact the world if they all die tomorrow. So whatever.
Yeah. I would get that Harry is doing everything he can to protect his wife, because yeah, he kind of lived what his mother went through, and but you know, she actually expressed how she has suicidal thoughts, and I mean, my heart goes out to her, but like, to me, just don't pay attention to all this stuff, because you know, British tabloids is just as ruthless as New York media. I mean, they could be beasts, man. I mean, like recently, like a cartoon came out of like they did like the George Floyd parody, as far as like the Queen had her knee on Megan's neck. They turned that into a cartoon. I'm like, these motherfuckers are beasts out there, man. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck out there. So, but
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Don't move to England.
I always wanted to visit. I mean,
Yeah.
I still plan on visiting London, just to kind of you know, see how life is out there. But yeah, but I gotta wait till the girls get a little bit older. But yeah, I gotta do a lot of traveling. A lot of traveling I missed out on.
Definitely got to get to London. Got to see England. I mean, that's part of the life experience, just going to places. But I don't know, man. That's an entirely different culture from, you know, what we're accustomed to. So for me to speak on it, you know, obviously I'm opinionated. I'm gonna say some silly shit just for the sake of it. But for people who are over there experiencing it and have grown up in that culture, you know, obviously they have a different outlook on the Queen and everything that goes on in Buckingham.
Mm-hmm.
It to me, to us here, you know, it's people who care just because of you know, the nostalgia of kings and queens. Nobody really. That's it.
It's probably it, because every time we see the Disney intro, we see a castle, and we just so infatuated with the castle.
That's it.
So yeah, it's probably all it is. So yeah, indoctrination of you know, since we were all little, we always wanted to be, you know, be seen, you know, being like a white knight and saving a woman. You know, that's that toxic masculinity that they trying to drive out of us, right? Why do a woman got to be saved by a man all the time? I'm like,
right. It's coming. It's coming.
All right. Now, and what you think about the whole vaccines, and as far as like I believe Stephen A called out LeBron, as far as like why LeBron haven't really spoken out as far as showing his support of getting the vaccine.
I mean, they looking for token black spokesmen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't hear anybody tell the Queen to come out and advocate on behalf of getting the vaccine. When is the Queen of England gonna come out and advocate on behalf of the vaccine?
If I was her age, I wouldn't say shit, because I mean, shit, I'm already 100 years old. I mean, I'm not gonna advocate for anything. I'm like, I shouldn't be living right now. So every day I live, it's just a bonus. I'm gonna say shit.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I mean, you know what? A lot of people still have a lot of reservations with the vaccination. You know, a lot of people are always going to pull up the whole Tuskegee experiment thing and, you know, draw inspiration from that to, you know, make people feel discouraged about.
But to me, that's a bad argument, because it was specifically targeted to a group of people. But as far as right now, where everyone's getting the vaccine, I mean, you can't make the same argument.
I remember some years ago, maybe 15. Excuse me. You could go into a restaurant and they would give black people different menus.
Wait. You said 50 years ago?
About 15. Yeah, about 15 minutes.
Where?
IHOP.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you.
Like, okay,
it will be very subtle differences in the menu.
Where?
Here in Chicago.
In Chicago. I
Yes.
never heard that before.
Okay, so what they would do is they would bring a menu and the corner might be cut off. Or it might be no corner, or it might be a black something on the corner. And it would literally be a different menu. And it was very subtle and it really was pointless, but they just didn't expect certain people to order certain things, so they will bring out certain menus because that's just the stupid nature of some people's thoughts. And this wasn't every IHOP, this wasn't a nationwide thing, but it was subtle racism basically taking place, and a lot of people didn't know about it. You could look it up. But
So basically on the black menus they will have like a lot of chicken and waffle dishes, but on the white menus they will have avocado toast, right?
essentially essentially that was the play. But also like when you went to more prestigious restaurants or car dealerships, uh very subtle things would take place that you wouldn't know about unless you either worked there, which you probably wouldn't, or somebody else told you, or you would just had that keen sense of observation. But it's very possible that all of these doses do have key identifiers on them to the people that are administrating them and make sure they give them to certain people. I'm not trying to create some type of
what you mean you're not trying to? I mean, you saying it on a platform.
I'm not going to start another conspiracy, but it's very possible. You can't presume to know what's going inside your body unless you're the person who made it. Obviously, we want to lend to the idea that they're out vaccinating people with, a straight vaccination that's just meant to help everybody. That's the ultimate goal. But what if they aren't? What if they are putting something different in us? Who knows? I'm saying this to say this. Black people have been treated wrong for so many years. The amount of trust that we have in people it's low. We don't have a lot of trust. Black men typically still don't even go to the doctor. When they know shit wrong, they don't go to the doctor. And now all of a sudden you want me to trust you enough to stick a needle in my arm. So I understand where the doubt is. Now, if you go and find somebody like LeBron, who obviously is going to trigger an emotional response to a certain group of people, I wouldn't say that it's a lot of old people that's going to jump up and go and get a vaccine. Black people that's going to jump up and go get a vaccine because LeBron said so. It's, obviously going to trigger a certain age group to respond, maybe 18 to 28, something like that.
I mean, he got a lot of followers, man. So yeah, people will like blindly likely, take his word for it. But
yeah,
but that's why I don't like athletes being these like these social justice advocates, because when a situation like this comes up, people are going to expect for you to speak out about it.
Yeah, and he may or may not.
So right. I'm saying he shouldn't do it, but he always put himself out there previously, and I've been warning them about that. So,
well, I mean, if he comes out and do it, you got to take this into fact. Like right now, he's not in a group that would be eligible for it. So why would you advocate for something that you haven't done yourself? He's not an essential worker. So, I mean, even if he has gotten it on the low, he shouldn't have. So I wouldn't think that he should speak about it.
I believe entertainers may be considered essential.
I don't think so.
I believe they would, because they are providing some type of morale service to the masses.
Well, I mean, that would be interesting if that's true.
But they're just my educated guess about it. I think that they may be considered essential workers.
I don't think they are.
But
maybe it's changed. But when I was overlooking the legalities from when we first went into quarantine, because I was trying to determine whether or not my company made me a eligible person. I don't recall seeing anything in there about entertainers.
Okay.
Um,
Well, just to bypass that like essential part. I mean, they are elite people, so they're going to get that type of favor anyway.
right. And I just don't think that, from my perspective, if let's say let's say they are essential personnel, and I feel like all of these other people should precede me in getting this vaccination because I'm young, I'm healthy, I'm not categorically, I don't fall into the age group where most people die. Should I be out advocating for older people to get the vaccination, knowing that I have it and I'm younger than them and I should have really been last to get it? Like, I don't know. I don't know if that, and it doesn't really fall on him as a responsible party. He can pick and choose what he wants to open his mouth and speak about.
I mean, getting the vaccine is a private decision. I totally get that. But as far as the actual, as far as the COVID itself, I mean, it has decimated, Black people in general. So I do understand the argument of why someone like him would speak out, but I would advise him not to because it's still a private decision between him and his wife and his kids. So they should decide whether they're going to get it or not, and just it's not our business. So everybody got to worry about themselves. So I mean, am I going to get the vaccine? I'm likely going to do it. I mean, I'm ex-military, so I'm used to getting vaccines. I'm used to being a guinea pig. So, and I never had an adverse reaction to any vaccine.
Right.
Anyway, so I mean, I'm not afraid of it. So,
I mean, my wife has gotten it. Obviously, I'm gonna have to wait a little while. I'm working.
You got both?
Me, my wife, she gets her second dose pretty soon. I didn't get anything yet.
Oh, she got the package. Okay.
She's got it. She'll get her second dose.
Okay.
And I have other people who've gotten in and that are in our age group, and there haven't been any adverse reactions. But I mean, just the when you think about why Black people are hit the hardest by this disease, why do you feel like Black people are hit the hardest by this disease?
One, the number one killer of Black people is it's like obesity, heart disease. So those factors itself, I mean, it's just gonna make you be so vulnerable to COVID anyway. So yeah.
So prior to COVID, knowing that these were huge factors in our community, where was the sense of urgency to help us then?
Well, your first Black president gave you Obamacare, right?
That didn't help nobody.
I mean, that wasn't a liberal healthcare plan anyway. I mean, it was actually a right wing healthcare plan, but Obama just put his name on it. So, well, yeah, they he campaigned on fighting for a public option, and unfortunately he didn't do that. So he just pretty much kind of like gave in to the GOP and just came out with this plan that the Heritage Foundation had written years ago. So. And Mitt Romney, he actually used the same plan for what was it?
Delaware.
Massachusetts?
I thought it was Delaware.
One of those. I think it was Massachusetts.
One of those very rich states.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Black people have traditionally, like I mentioned before, they haven't been very comfortable with the idea of entrusting their health with anybody other than their grandmas and ginger ale. That's always been our cure for everything. So for now, us to just expect to just drop all of our defenses and go get a vaccine, that's a tough pill to swallow, no pun intended. But yeah, I mean, in his right time, he probably is gonna come out and say something to advocate for Black people taking the vaccine. Somebody gonna shove a bunch of money at him on the low. We're not gonna know the reason behind it. And maybe it's something that he needs to do. If it's gonna get people to go out and get vaccinated, then I don't feel like that's a bad thing. I mean, but it's a whole lot of other people that should be doing it too. I mean, we just can't jump down LeBron's throat because he ain't saying nothing about it. Like I just said, what about the Queen of England? You know what I'm saying? What about all of these other celebrities who, have a mass following? Where are they at, on educating the public and trying to encourage them to go get the vaccine? He's just one person.
Right.
He ain't the king of England. He the king
Well,
of the NBA.
well, he's the king. So
Yeah, he is the king.
He is the king. So
You did say that. That did come out your mouth, Rob.
right. He's the king because he say he's the king. So.
Oh no, you just said he the king.
Speaking of the king, once again, his team won in this past All-Star game, and I did not watch it, and I looked up the ratings, and it was the lowest rated All-Star game ever. And I mean, people are just probably just so tuned out because of their social justice, causes, being out in Front Street, and which I always say, I mean, they have so many platforms to kind of spew out what they trying to do in the community. But my whole thing is just don't use the NBA's dime. I mean, just go out, play basketball, make your money, so that way you won't affect your bottom line. Because if the bottom line is affected, then that's going to affect your money, and then you can't use the extra money to like do what you really want to do with it. So my whole thing is just don't alienate your fan base, and then that way you'll be more effective in what you can do outside of basketball. But
I don't know, man. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's not people can't go to games. People, when people are disconnected in that way, they're not going to watch. It's just really, I think it really just boils down to that. Low ratings is a direct response to them not being able to go in and actually see and be a part of the experience. So, and I mean, All-Star Weekend was the same way. You know what I'm saying? People, there were people still flocking to Atlanta. It was in Atlanta, right?
yeah.
People still flocking to Atlanta because Atlanta is open. But with that, without people being there, there's going to be a significant dip in interest. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you think about it, it's what, maybe 30,000 people at a basketball game. Of them 30,000 people in some cities that they exist in, that's maybe 10-20% of the population. That means 9 times out of 10, when you go to work, somebody was at the game last night, they was talking about it. So that's going to propel interest. You know what I'm saying? Just because people are more present. And if that conversation is not happening at the water cooler, basketball and other sports are going to become second. It's not going to garner as much as attention. So I would probably say that their activism is probably one of the few things that might be actually keeping people interested in basketball.
I doubt it. I seriously doubt it.
I definitely think that a lot more millennials are probably interested in basketball simply because of people, the players' interest in the sport. Because to me, it seems like a lot fewer people from this generation are even interested in sports.
Who buy the tickets?
Now I would probably say 35 and older buying basketball tickets.
Right, Gen Xers, not Gen Z or Gen Y.
These young motherfuckers. They not. I feel like they're not nearly as interested in sports as our generation and older. Mm-hmm. But they're all outside in the street, advocating for civil rights and all the other movements. So if you're using your platform to draw in those younger people, then you're actually probably solidifying and rebuilding your base, because they advocating for their cause. So we'll see when the doors open back up, if basketball ratings go up. They're gonna have to do something, because it's pretty bad.
I mean, I did see the highlights of the game, but I still am a fan of the format that they're doing, like having them start from 0 every quarter, and then in the fourth quarter you got to score, or whoever's winning, they have to score just 24 points, and if you're trailing, you just got to outscore the person who's leading. But that's cool, but I just don't like the whole picking a team. So I think that's kind of played out. I mean, I like the East versus West because every single year you really don't know who was on whose team. I mean, LeBron picked his team for like 5 straight years. I mean, you had KD, he was the team captain this year. Last year was Giannis, and 2 years prior to that it was Steph. So So like in previous All-Star games, I really don't know who played for who.
Right.
But back in the 90s, if you was to name a player, you can kind of like know who he played for because, you know, depending on what team he played on, he was at East or West. But like now, man, I mean, it's kind of confusing. But yeah, I think that the idea is kind of played out. But once LeBron retires, then I'm pretty sure that they'll change the format back to East and West.
I don't know, man. I think I like the format better because you get the opportunity to see players that will probably never play on the same team. And in some cases, when you go back to those older years, a lot of people who were in the East stayed in the East. It wasn't a lot of East-West trafficking when it came to trades being made.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you would never have a possibility for Michael Jordan to play with Magic Johnson. Like, obviously, that would have never happened. But, you know, Scottie Pippen going in the dream team. Yeah, I know. But I'm saying, like, today, you know, when you think about the players that are in the game, it kind of feels like a video game. The All-Star game feels like a video game. That's what
all they're doing is jacking up threes from half court. I mean, they are making them.
Yeah,
they are making them, but still, they're just taking the fun out of basketball. As far as for the purposes of like an All-Star game, because back in the 80s and the 90s and early 2000s, I mean, those games were very competitive. But like right now, all they're doing is jacking up shots.
No, them games weren't competitive. The game was never competitive until after halftime. The first quarter,
Right, of course, right. They was always fucking around in the first half, but the intensity got more like towards the end of the third quarter, and then every fourth quarter it was just pretty much balls to the wall. So,
but I mean, this new format doesn't encourage that either, though.
You know what? They are playing more defense as far as what I saw last year, but this year, I mean, the West. I'm so sorry, Bron's team. They was up so big. I mean, they were just fucking around anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the format, man. I feel like it doesn't really lend to a real concern about who's winning the game to me. Mm-hmm. But as far as, you know, them picking teams, to me that does feel more like a pickup game, which is, you know, at the core of basketball. You know, for people who play basketball, you know, all the players are there. You pick who you want, you go from there. But also, I mean, if you think about it too, like, I think it was more West All-Stars this year than it probably was East All-Stars. I would probably say it was. So,
you know, I never really saw like the roster, so I can't really tell you.
Just thinking about East All-Stars. I can't. What you call it? From the Bulls actually went, so I can't even say that. I don't know, man. It's
Zach LaVine.
It was interesting, man. I don't know. They could always undergo another format change. I do like the fact that the players get to pick teams. I feel like it's more of a pickup game. You know, certain rivals get to play on the same team. We'll never see, you know, LeBron play with Steph Curry. Like, that'll never happen in real life. That's video game shit.
I mean, if it was the East and West format, they would have played together.
Yeah, now, but again, we go back to when LeBron was in the East. We would never imagine that kind of scenario.
See, I wouldn't have cared. I want to see East versus West. Which conference is the better conference?
Nobody cares about that but you.
I'm just a traditionalist, man. That's all.
It ain't about competition now. It's all about them going out and getting to actually have a fun time playing basketball, because it's work for them, and we don't really see it as work for them. We see it as them playing a game, but that's work for them. So, you know, it is what it is. It did seem like, you know, some of the other events, like, they didn't really care. The dunk contest was won by a young kid, and all I've seen since he won is everybody talking about how fine his girlfriend is.
I haven't seen this girl yet, but yeah, I've heard about it.
Beauty of the lifetime.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta look that up. Okay. But yeah, man, you know, it's the All-Star game right now. Sports don't even really matter right now.
Well, pertaining to the All-Star Weekend itself, it just seems like the IG thotties trying to find him a man, and some of them was like renting U-Haul trucks and sleeping in those, and it was some IG models having GoFundMe's because they couldn't afford their way back home. So I mean, chicks still on this shit. Like All-Star Weekend, like people still go crazy over that shit. Really?
Yeah, man. I had a buddy of mine. He went down there. Shout out to Mike Jones. He sent me some pictures of a whole bunch of cars in the parking lot that had got ripped off, and they was all sitting on cinder blocks.
Are you serious?
It was apparently down there jacking people rims.
Wow.
But, I mean, Atlanta is the turn up state, man. They never stop partying. So yeah, that's not something that's gonna ever go away. That's probably why they had the All-Star game down there. They wanted to make sure that they got as much hype out of it as they possibly could. Mm-hmm. A lot of them players when they was in the bubble was down in Atlanta doing shit they ain't had no business doing. You would think that the NBA would never imagine taking a damn All-Star game down there after all of that shit. But hey, South is where it is. South is here to stay.
Well, yeah. Well, so speaking of carjackings, I've heard on Vlad TV, it was like an Akon interview. He actually was jacking cars in the Atlanta area. That's how he kind of like got his bread to kind of get his music career started. So
Akon?
Yeah, just some random trivia. Yep.
Akon trying to build Wakanda in Africa.
Is it called Akon Town or something?
I don't know what the hell.
He trying to build his own crypto as well.
Yeah, he trying to do some big shit.
I think it's called Acoin, something like that, right? Acoin, yeah.
Well, I mean, if he gonna build his own society in Africa, then he build his own monetary system.
I saw a video of it and it's fucking beautiful, but hopefully it works out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the resources is there. He got a lot of investors, and I think he's still trying to get more and more investors involved in it. But man, that'd be some big shit.
Yeah, I wonder if I could invest in it. If it'll be like against U.S. government policy as a federal employee to invest something like that. But I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably another 25 years before we see that any type of movement on that.
All right, cool, man. Put a bomb on that. Now, this week's Beauty of the Week.
All right, let's see what we got.
You have seen her likely for the first time in Pharrell's front video. And
I'm ringing no bells.
And no, I'm not talking about Lauren London. Now, Lauren, I mean, she is a bad chick, but I think this chick is even better than her. And the name of this chick is named Lanisha Cole. Let me share my screen real quick. Ever since I saw her for the first time, I was like, oh yeah, she is pretty for a dark skinned chick, right?
You and y'all in this dark skin shit.
I always like dark skinned chicks, man. But yeah, man, she is this week's Beauty of the Week. And let me share her IG because I always thought she had a pretty face, and like randomly I thought of her from the video, and I was like, no what? Let me look up this chick's name. So I looked up her name, and I went to her IG just to kind of see how she's looking nowadays. And I was very impressed. Can you see those pictures up close?
I can see those pictures up there.
Yeah, man. She a nice baddie, man.
Yeah, she's definitely a winner.
Yeah, she's killing it right now, man. So keep doing what you're doing, sweetie.
What's her name? Go on Instagram right quick. That's the life, man. When you start in that life, you stay in that life. It's very easy to stay pretty when you started that way. So,
oh yeah,
shout out to her, man. Beautiful black sister.
All right, y'all. Episode 34, CornaStore Podcast. This is Rob and Phil. We signing off. We'll see y'all next week.
Deuces.
All right, bro. Let's see you.
Peace.